Hello and welcome to Never Seen It. This is a podcast about movies that, we haven't seen yet. I'm one of your hosts, Betsy, and with me is my co-host, Trent.
We haven't seen all the movies yet.
That's a really weird thing to say, Trent. How have we not seen all the movies?
That's why we're doing the podcast.
Speaking of a movie that you haven't seen, today we are watching Gladiator.
Yep.
So, 22 years on, I've seen this movie a number of times, not in a while, so admittedly, it is something that I'm revisiting for the first time in many years. But this is kind of the meat and potatoes of what we're trying to do here in this podcast, because my dear husband has spent 22 years not having watched Gladiator, which I believe won for Best Picture. It certainly won for Best Actor, Russell Crowe, at the dawn of his career. So, Trent, please, indulge me, enlighten our listeners. Why have you never seen Gladiator?
I would just like to echo what Betsy said. This is one of the reasons why we started this podcast, so that me, your humble co-host, can sit down and watch movies that everybody else has seen. This is in the vein of like the Avatars and the Sixth Senses and things of that nature. So again, this is the reason why we're doing this podcast in the first place. Betsy, why don't you tell me what your experience is with Gladiator? Like, what do you remember about it? And like, when did you watch it?
Well, this is one of those movies that was pretty culturally significant in 2000. I think people were trying to bring back the epic.
Yeah, it's the return of the big epic. This is before The Lord of the Rings came out.
Right, and this is like an homage to the Ben-Hurs and the Spartacus type movies from like the 50s and 60s, but modernized. So it was really successful in that regard, and it got a lot of praise at the Academy Awards and won a lot of awards. And
it's kind of the beginning of like the big budget movies,
or at least the rebirth, certainly, because they kind of got a little more what's the word? Like in the 70s, 80s, things started to get more like realistic and gritty and drama. And they stopped making movies like this. So for somebody to say, we're going to make a Gladiator movie in the year 2000 was unusual.
I can imagine.
But I saw this movie, let me see. I think I saw this within a year of it being released. I was obviously not old enough to see this movie, which is rated R in the theater at the time it was released. But I do remember watching it in high school. I actually gave a presentation. We had some class or another. I don't remember what class it was for, but everybody had to get up there with their partner and give this presentation. And for some reason, the girl I was doing a presentation with and we were talking about ancient Rome, and we talked about we had reference points. So we took the Julius Caesar play from Shakespeare, and we read a bit of that, and we showed a clip from Gladiator, and we were talking about this whole thing. And for some reason, I just remember debating with her what clip to show that we could get away with showing from this rated R movie. And we managed to find one that we could get away with. And I saw this at that time, and I've seen it many times since, but I probably haven't watched this since before you and I started dating. So it's not unfamiliar to me, but again, why you, Trent? Why have you ignored this movie that came out when you were 15 years old?
Before I answer that question, I just want to tell a story. When I was in freshman year, I don't even know what class this was, a similar thing went on where there was somebody doing a presentation, and the movie We Were Soldiers was fairly new.
Oh,
now,
Lord. Yeah,
We Were Soldiers. We Were Soldiers is a very bloody and graphic movie. And they, whatever it was, they showed the portion of the movie where, I'm just going to say, there was skin involved. I know that's all I'm going to say. Yeah, skin and napalm and terrible shit.
Yeah,
that was shown to me in my freshman year.
How did they get away with that? The teacher didn't write them up?
I don't know what that was all about. But that teacher also told us that he was very young, as far as teachers are concerned. He showed a clip of himself when he was shown on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
What? Okay.
It was in the 90s. Bill Clinton was in the news. He was still president. He went to visit the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota.
Okay.
And Jay Leno was doing a joke about him going to the reservation, and my teacher, when he was that age, I guess he was probably in college, he yelled out from the audience, say, "Woo!" Say, why are you wooing Pine Ridge Reservation? We're from there! No, you're not. You're not. You are a pasty white man with frosted tips.
He's from South Dakota, though.
He's from South Dakota.
That's like the same thing. Like, I wooed at a show once where they said... I think they said like Brookings, South Dakota or Brandon, South Dakota, neither of which are towns I am from.
Right.
But I wooed, and somebody on the stage said, apparently we've got the fire marshal from Brandon, South Dakota here.
I will say nothing else. People from South Dakota love when we are recognized as existing
There's
from
like
larger
12
things.
of us here. When anybody in the universe says the word South Dakota, our ears perk up.
Right. Anyway, we're way off topic here. I haven't seen Gladiator for a couple of reasons. One, it's a long-ass movie.
It is a long movie.
It's a big commitment.
It's not like a 4-hour movie, though.
No, and I wasn't, like, you were into, like, the classical civilization things. It's what you went to college for. I was never really into that stuff. I don't really give a shit about any of the old civilizations and whatnot. I wasn't interested in them in college or high school.
You're more into like American history and different eras of that.
My favorite era of history is American history during the Revolutionary War, which is why I like things like that John Adams miniseries.
Right. You didn't
like
care
that.
so much about like other world history and ancient history and things like that.
Nope. I was never into that stuff. So
then
it didn't really turn me on to the point where I'm going to commit almost 3 hours of my life to watch this movie. I don't care if it won an Oscar for Best Picture, because at the time I wasn't paying attention to things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my story.
And as you've aged, it has never piqued your interest?
Again, it's the time commitment. Like, to sit down and watch a movie like this that is well past where, like, camera techniques and CG and acting is now, to go back 22 years back to then, I don't know. I really don't know why I haven't sat down to watch it, but those are the thoughts that run through my head.
Okay, well, fair enough. But that being said, you can't be completely oblivious to the existence of this movie. Yeah. So what do you know through osmosis about Gladiator?
It's the two people in it that got their big break as a actor are Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix.
I think that's fair. Like, they both had made movies, but this is one that really put them both on the map.
Yeah, totally. But, like, as far as other people in the movie, I don't have a clue. I know his name is... The only reason I know this is because of the research that we do before these. Maximus is... Russell Crowe is his name. Does Joaquin Phoenix play Caesar? Or like a Caesar type?
I think he is the Caesar, but he is not... Julius Caesar.
This is not based on a real life.
No, his title, he is the Roman emperor or whatever.
Right. And again, I know nothing about this kind of thing. I know it's kind of based on, gladiatorial combat, which was entertainment back in the day.
Uh-huh.
It was also a punishment for a lot of people.
You watched people go get fucked up.
Trial by combat.
That was like your fun afternoon activity.
Right. And a lot of that stuff has just permeated through our history as the human race. Mm-hmm. Where
blood sport.
We were just watching the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and the whole town shows up to watch a hanging.
You didn't have TV,
right.
Unless you were going to read a book, which most people couldn't read in those days.
Sure, that was your entertainment.
Especially in ancient Rome. The only thing to do that was apart from working or watching the sun go up and down, literally watching paint dry. You could go watch a good hanging or, a gladiator thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are a weird people. But anyway, as far as that, anything more to do with this, I assume there's some kind of revenge story and he's hunting down the people who wronged him in the past. I don't know.
Okay, well, we're going to leave it at that, and we are going to go and watch Gladiator. We will be right back. And we're back. All right, Trent, that was Gladiator. Immediate reaction?
That was really good.
Yeah, this is a good movie, and I haven't watched this, certainly since we've been together. It's been quite a while.
As you said, this is not a movie that you just throw on.
No. There are moments in this movie where it doesn't drag, but it's like a slower pace. And then there's a lot of action sequences where it's so violent and so visceral, I'm like wincing and gritting my teeth.
Yeah, the pacing is, I think, pretty good for a movie that's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
So you get a whole bunch of scenes, of action scenes, interspersed with the goings-on between all of our main characters. And for what it is, it's very impressive. For this movie to come out in the year 2000 and having all this other stuff come out around the same time and since, it's still very impressive for what it is.
Well, and if this movie isn't an argument for why they should give stunt choreographers their own Academy Award, I don't know what is. Because this is all like practical effects. They have giant, massive battles. The movie starts with a battle. They have several gladiator scenes. And it is carnage and chaos and blood, and it's amazing. And all real.
Right.
It's like 400 guys beating each other with sticks.
Yeah, at the very beginning, I said, Jesus, like, look at how many extras are here. Like, this is incredible.
They did this the old school way. At least it's so well done. Like, they didn't touch it up very much with computers that it looks like
they couldn't.
Listen, they might have. It very well could be that they copy pasted the crowd a little bit to make it look bigger.
It would not have looked this good.
No, but they still have minimum hundreds of extras.
Yeah.
In costume, in place. And that's hard to do.
I had this thought while we were watching, especially the first scene of the first battle at the beginning of the movie. Horse wranglers and people who dealt with horses got a lot of work in the early 2000s between this and all the Lord of the Rings movies and The Patriot.
Yep, made the same year.
I thought about The Patriot a lot while we were watching this because
I get that.
I got a lot of vibes from that, but this movie puts The Patriot to shame when it comes to the visceralness of the battles and the up-close nature of everything.
Oh, and The Patriot's pretty visceral.
It is. And I really like that movie for what it is. You know, fuck Mel Gibson and everything else. But this movie is, I think, a lot more impressive than that one. And I can't really put a finger on it as to why. But I've seen The Patriot quite a few times, and this is better.
Did I ever tell you my dad took us all to see The Patriot when my mom was out of town?
I think you did.
Yeah, I'm like 15 years old, and Dad decided he wanted to go see it. So he took all the kids, including my little brothers. I think they were also included because he couldn't just leave them at home. And Mom would never have allowed that.
No.
But Dad didn't care. Dad was like, let's all go see The Patriot. And we were just like, yeah, he kills people with an axe.
Very bloodily.
He does. But yeah, this movie, it's just the right balance of action sequences and storyline, plot, drama. And at its core, you were right, it is a revenge movie because you've got the elderly emperor who is dying. Well, his son hastens the process and just straight up murders him and smothers him to death.
Right.
And then he just decides to take over. And Commodus is a little bitch, as you wrote down many times in your notes.
He's just a little bitch. So watching this movie for the first time, I am reminded of a whole lot of other things that I have seen since this movie has come out.
Sure.
So I got total Game of Thrones vibes all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
From beginning to end.
I bet if we do a little digging, there are connections to Game of Thrones.
Absolutely. But at the same time, I was also thinking, because I was reminded of Game of Thrones, you could have made this into a TV show.
Yeah?
I don't think that there would be any problem.
Or at least a miniseries.
Or a miniseries, yeah. You could have extended this out. You could have had the Maximus in the pits. You could have had, the kid growing up. You could have had a whole lot of other things, but it was condensed down for a movie.
Right, and the whole point is he gets separated. He refuses to bend the knee, as it were, to this piece of shit Commodus.
Right.
And Commodus immediately says, okay, well then fuck you, and I'm going to murder you. But he gets away because he's the greatest warrior that Rome has ever seen.
Sure.
And he ends up a slave. But then the whole climax of the movie is when he ends up back in Rome. Well, Rome for the first time, because they say he's never been to Rome.
Right.
And he's confronting the emperor. So they get to that moment pretty quickly. Yeah, it's an hour and a half into the movie. You were like, this doesn't feel like there should be an hour left of this movie.
After the initial fight of him in front of the emperor, I feel like this movie should be ending about now. But we get 3 more battles after that.
Yeah, the whole point is it's all about the mob rule and the crowds. And there's a lot of speeches, people saying, I know Rome and I know what Rome wants and how Rome is and Romans are. And they all just immediately fall in love with this guy. He is their fucking hero. He is Maximus. He's the Spaniard. He is Maximus the Merciful.
Right.
And they don't want him to die. And so it just creates this absolute tension because all Commodus wants to do is kill him.
And the emperor just wants to have him die, but he's too good to be killed.
He refuses to die.
He refuses to die, yeah. And Commodus knows better than to put him to death, or at least have his guards kill him, because you got 50,000 people in that Colosseum who will rise up and murder your ass.
Oh, yeah.
And take over the place and have everything fall apart. Rome will fall if that were to happen.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing left.
There'd be an uprising.
Yes.
Because the whole point of him having 150 days of games is to appease the crowds. But if you piss off the crowds, you have exactly the opposite effect.
Exactly. And the crowds are not learned enough in these days to be able to overcome the lack of leadership. Because in that uprising, the senators will probably also be killed as well.
They would just kill everybody and not know what to do next.
Exactly. So I think, me not really knowing a whole lot about the Roman history and Greek history and things like that, I think I got enough of it. I know who Julius Caesar is. I know that a lot of these concepts like representative government and democracy and things like that come from this part of the world and originated around the same time.
Oh, yeah, and watching this movie, this go-around, there were even things I hadn't really thought about. So they keep calling him the Spaniard, and I'm like, why the hell do they keep calling him that? It's always bothered me. Right. And then today it just occurred to me, it's like, oh, well, it's quite simple, really. Spain was part of the Roman Empire.
Right.
So they don't explicitly say where he lives. He just wants to go home. His whole thing is he just wants to go home. He hasn't been home. He knows to the day. Right. 2 years, 264 days, and this morning. Like, he knows exactly how long he's been away from his wife and son. Yeah. And he describes in very lyrical, flowery language the beauty that is his home.
Right.
And yeah, you could just kind of assume, well, duh, he lives in Spain. That's why he's called a Spaniard. It never really occurred to me before. You also learned a couple of things, just because, again, as we touched on, my nerdy ass was a classics major in college. And I told you something you didn't know, because you were asking about Caesar. Like,
so yeah,
what the whole thing
I stopped
is
the
there.
movie and I asked, okay, so what's the deal with the name Caesar? Is it like a surname? Is it a title? Is it a thing of nobility? What is it?
It's the title. So it's kind of used interchangeably with emperor. Yeah. So it's emperor or Caesar. And the other thing that you didn't know, that's where the Russians stole the word czar.
Right.
Caesar. Caesar.
C-A-R. Caesar.
Get it, guys?
Uh-huh.
Czar, or just cutting off the first part, Caesar.
Right.
So there's another little history lesson for you.
No idea.
And we also had kind of a long conversation while this movie was happening about just the Colosseum.
Yeah.
So there's a scene in this movie where the first time Maximus is brought into the arena, they're recreating a battle. So it wasn't just, here's a big dude, there's a big dude, hit each other until somebody's dead.
Right. This is entertainment. This is, history animated in front of you.
Yes, they had much more elaborate productions than you could possibly imagine, especially at the Colosseum. They say in this movie, it's 50,000 people. And the acoustics are designed incredibly. Like, you didn't have microphones in those days, but you could hear what they were saying if you hollered loud enough. It's an arch. It all bounces. The sound all carries throughout this space.
Right.
And one of the things they would do is they would recreate historical battles. So they'd have, like in here, what is it, the Battle of Carthage or something?
Sure.
Where they say these barbarians get their asses kicked and this other team wins. But of course, the gladiators that Maximus is with, they're like, fuck that, we're gonna live. And they completely turn the history upside
because
down.
all these slaves are just fodder.
Yes. Another little bit of history about the Colosseum. They would actually, the floor, like they demonstrate, they would open the floor. They could do that. They would flood the Colosseum and have boat battles.
No shit.
No shit. They would fill that fucker with water and have boat fights.
Jeez.
Like, when I say that the Romans meant business when it came to the Colosseum, they went all out. All out. Yeah. And so when you see it now, there's the floor is open because the floor has disintegrated.
Right.
So what's left is all the basement stuff, all the underground things.
Right.
But yeah, I just wanted to share that because that's one of those like really nerdy facts.
and while we were watching it, I said, in thousands of years, we as the human race haven't really improved that much upon the original Colosseum design.
It doesn't need improvement because the people who created it figured it out so perfectly.
Right.
We just do it the same way.
They put so many resources into it, all of the smartest people in the land.
Engineering marvels.
Right.
There's a reason it's one of the wonders of the world.
It really is. And yeah, like I said,
it's still there.
It's still there and it still works. Just like you go to some of these like Roman amphitheaters and Greek amphitheaters, the places where you would actually have real plays. You could stand in the center of where the stage is. You could whisper, and then down at the last seat, you could hear that person. Mm-hmm. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But they had it all down even back then.
Yeah. I wanted to talk again. There was one moment that I got you to laugh because they're trying so hard to kill this guy that they bring out this gladiator who's been in retirement for 5 years. He's the only undefeated gladiator. And of course, I immediately thought of the movie we just watched, Idiocracy, Beef Supreme.
Beef Supreme. He came out of retirement.
So they brought their own version of Beef Supreme out. And then there's 4 tigers on chains that they kind of loose out of the ground.
Right.
And so it's this extra element of danger where he is not only fighting a man, but they both have to watch their footing because they could be mauled to death by a tiger.
They have to stay closer together because if they go further out, the tigers are going to get them.
Yep. So
they do
fight him or fight them. It's like take your pick. That's the scene we showed in my high school class.
Oh shit. And of course, that is, partially real and partially fake, because if there's any moments in this movie that I noticed that were fake, like CG, at least assisted, it was the tiger fight.
Or there was like an actual like animatronic. There was definitely a fake tiger in there somewhere.
Like when it was on top of him.
Yes. There were a couple moments where it's like, well, that's just a puppet.
Yes.
And were there any of those other scenes that you found particularly impressive or interesting for any particular reason?
Not really. I mean, none of the scenes here are that iconic for me. Obviously, like the different lines that you come across, like, "Are you not entertained?"
Yep.
It's him like basically spitting at the crowd, like, "You fucking monsters. Are you satisfied with what I just did? I just killed and murdered all these people.
Yep.
You do not know of what I am coming from for like war-wise."
After he chucked a sword at the rich fucks up top.
Right. He threw the sword up there. Anybody could have been hit by that.
He didn't hit anybody.
And he spits on the ground saying, "Fuck y'all, I'm out of here.
Screw the system."
But then he realizes he is taught, you need to get the crowd on your side, dude.
Yep. And he does.
Yeah.
When he gets to Rome, he very quickly becomes a hero to everyone in that Colosseum.
Yes.
Which is, of course, the worst thing that could happen for Commodus because that little shit just wants him dead.
Yep. So, again, there are so many different things that we are pulling from to this movie, like references in other media. Like, we love Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I thought about that.
There is a gladiatory scene in that movie where it's kind of the same thing. It's you just throw them out there for the entertainment of the crowd, and whatever. You are expected to die.
We just watched one yesterday, Trent.
It's true.
We watched Star Wars Episode 3.
Yeah. No, it's Episode 2.
Was that in Episode 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's Clone Wars.
You're right. That's in Clone Wars.
But yes.
We just watched it.
Same thing. There's stuff in, like, I kept on thinking about Futurama. That happens at least once in there.
That just shows you how long this was around.
Yeah.
Because people didn't come up with anything better to do. We didn't have, like, sport. Like, there was no,
Sure.
like, I guess the Olympics existed back
Sure.
then. But that was the Greeks. That wasn't the Romans.
No, they weren't all
the Greeks were more constructive.
They weren't all that good about cooperation and,
No.
competition.
No, they stole everything from each other, which is why you have Hercules and Heracles.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, of course, there's this big climactic scene where Commodus decides that the best way to handle this whole situation is we're just gonna fight.
Yeah.
But he knows.
Yeah.
He's trained. He's shown earlier in the movie fighting and practicing. Mm-hmm. So we know he can fight. But he's fighting Maximus, who will kick his ass.
Right. And Commodus has never actually seen real battle.
No.
And all these other guys that he's training with are never ever going to hit him.
No, he's never gonna see he's never seen a real fight before.
Yeah.
So he knows he cannot win in a fair fight, so he stabs Maximus before they go out there. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they have their big fight, and he loses. Maximus wins, as you expect.
Yep.
And the crowd is silent.
Yeah. And I said, oh, geez, everybody's just thinking, oh, shit, what now?
Yeah, who are we supposed to root for?
What's going on now? I don't get it. Like, what's next?
They understand a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
But when the emperor's killed, they go, oh. And then, of course, Maximus promptly dies like 3 seconds later.
He's basically dead on his feet.
Yeah. And then still nothing. The entire crowd is just silent. And that is a very interesting moment in this movie where 50,000 people are so stunned by what they just saw, they don't know what to do next. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy.
It's like, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah.
That's our emperor.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah, it stopped being a game and it became reality.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's another moment like when they, he's dead and Lucilla comes out and says he was a soldier of Rome, honor him. And they say, who will help me carry him? Mm-hmm. And like 12 guys come and pick him up. Mm-hmm. And again, silence as he's exiting. Yeah. And the other guy's just laying there dead and no one gives a fuck.
Right.
Weirdly, I didn't expect this. I haven't watched this movie in a while. I got a little emotional. That was a first for me. I've watched this movie enough times and I don't remember ever being emotional in this movie. Okay. But something about that moment this time around, I was just like, oh, he's people, like they love him and respect him so much.
Yeah, it's such a show of respect, not only for his people who come and take him away, but for his subjects, or not his subjects, but his fans.
Yeah.
Like, if that were to happen in real life, in the ring, let's say, where you have a beloved figure giving their all for you, the fans, and they just up and die.
Yeah.
That would be a stunner.
Well, and there's reasons, like, even in something, the most modern day equivalent we have, and it's all staged, is like wrestling.
Sure.
Like the WWE. It's all fake. We all know it's fake, but those guys still put their bodies out there and they're committed to it.
And it has happened in the past where someone has died in the ring, and it's a shocker for everybody. Everybody understands that there's danger in everything that they're doing.
But until that danger becomes reality.
You just have to go along with it.
And I think if you talk to anybody who has been or currently is a wrestling fan, they have all experienced that moment, either watching it happen or hearing about it happen, or just when one of them dies.
Sure.
Just unexpectedly at an older age,
right.
when they're just, 57 years old and have a heart attack.
Well, I'll tell you this. A lot of wrestlers don't get to reach old age.
No, a lot of athletes in general don't.
Yes.
Especially like football players.
Yeah, anybody where you're getting roughed around a lot.
Oh, your body can only take so much.
You're lucky if you can actually reach old age.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's modern day equivalents to what they're showing in this movie.
Yeah.
And you understand the sentiment. So I think that's why my body just kind of went, oh, that sucks. This is sad.
Right. And I think the idea of him, like I said, he's dead on his feet. He cannot take another step because if he does, he's going to collapse dead. Mm-hmm. So he stops, composes himself, gives the orders to the dude who he knows and he respects.
Who he trusts, yeah.
Exactly. Free my men, free all the prisoners, reinstate this senator. He's in charge. I'm done. Yep. And then he collapses and he's dead, basically.
Yeah, those were the last wishes of Marcus Aurelius.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not giving an order from himself. He's saying, this was what I heard from the real emperor.
He's carrying out the final order he was given by his emperor, who he trusted and loved. And even the emperor was like, Commodus can't rule.
Right.
That guy? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and everything kind of plays out as expected when he takes over. Like, the only way he can get to be loved is by showing them carnage. Yeah. And he doesn't understand anything about anything.
Right.
And he's just a little weasel.
And there is something to be said about the fact that the old emperor got rid of the gladiatory combat.
Yeah.
New guy brought it back, and the people really wanted to love him for that, for bringing it back. But then it teaches the people a lesson. This is what you get. Mm-hmm. This is what you get when you have this kind of gladiatory combat stuff, and this is a way to get rid of it.
They have a really good way in this movie of demonstrating the difference between the old emperor and the younger emperor.
Yeah.
And there's like a scene where Maximus and Marcus Aurelius are having a conversation, and he refers to him as Caesar, and he says, "Don't call me that,
right?
Please, just can't we talk like guys?" He's so old and world weary, and he gives a speech about how in 20 years I've seen 4 years of peace. We've always been at war.
He's just lamenting his time spent. Like, oh man, what is it all worth? What does it all mean?
Here's who could be perceived as a great man. Everybody loves this guy.
Sure.
He has been victorious for Rome. He's expanded the empire. But he's tired and he's dying.
Yeah.
And what does he have to show for it? He's like, sure, I expanded the empire, but
But he also knows that, you know what? This whole emperor thing, us having an emperor, no, we shouldn't have that anymore.
No, we used to be a republic. Let's go be a republic again.
Let's go back to being a republic. We've got enough land. We've got enough territory.
We've taken over. Fuck all.
Right. This is all ours. So guess what? Let's keep it.
Mm-hmm. And the way we do that is, I'm gonna peace out.
Yep.
See ya.
Right. And let's transition over to the person who can actually keep control of the military.
Yeah.
A guy who actually will be respected by the military.
Because he already is.
Exactly. Put him in charge so that there isn't a coup by the military, number one. Mm-hmm. Because that was very much going to happen if their other plans were going to go through. Because he was going to get released, go find his men, and come back and take over the entire fucking capital. Yep.
There's a very clear distinction between the guy who's in charge and a leader, and Maximus in this movie is the leader, and everybody follows him. Like, he quickly gets all of the gladiators on his side.
Right.
He says, we can do this if we do it together, and pretty soon they're all his men. Like, he has a group of men wherever he goes.
And in reality, all these slaves are all out for themselves.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to go out there and fight as a unit.
Hell no.
But because he's such a leader and he knows how to get his men in line.
He'll keep them all alive.
Exactly.
If he puts himself out there, he can protect everybody.
Totally.
And so everybody in this movie, including 50,000 Roman fans who are just thirsty for blood, they all love him. They love him. So let's talk about a couple of different things as far as like the makeup of this movie. First of all, this movie's beautiful.
It is. And for what the time is, you got a lot of the matte paintings of Rome when it is depicted in
the background
180 AD, like the shots of the Colosseum from the outside, the shots of Rome as a city,
the flyover scenes and things like
all
that.
there's a lot of birds just being released everywhere.
So many birds.
Yeah. And like with them in the Colosseum, them in the fighting pits and whatnot. Yeah, it just looks really cool.
Natural lighting. There is no artificial light in this movie.
Because there can't be.
There can't be.
Even when they're in like the catacombs, in the prisons.
They have like torches
Yep.
and just kind of
Candlelight.
refracted light
Yeah.
and candlelight. And yeah, I was just staring at it going, wow, this looks so good.
It helps that we got the 4K version.
It does, but that's probably why I noticed it, because I don't think, I also didn't care. Like when I was 15, 16,
No,
I
you're not
wasn't
noticing
looking at that
things
stuff.
you're not noticing things
But
like
this
that.
time I really noticed it. The lighting is great. The score in this movie is amazing.
The score is very reminiscent of the movies of this time, of the big epics. Pirates of the Caribbean comes to mind.
I kept
all of that
thinking
stuff,
of Pirates of the Caribbean.
all the way through.
Yeah,
all the way through.
It's like that adventure feeling.
Yes.
I don't know how else to describe it.
There was one moment that they were approaching Rome, when all the caravan of all the slaves were approaching Rome, that it was like kind of an upbeat, hey, we're going on an adventure. No, you do no. What I'm saying is that was not earned.
Okay.
It should not have been that whimsical. Come on.
Okay, I could see that.
That is a sad, somber scene of them having to do all that shit.
When they get there, yes.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
It's the caravan as they're approaching it. You can see Rome in the background.
It's like jaunty and celebratory.
Yes.
Okay.
And that should not have been like that.
And I kind of get what they were going for there, because the whole reason they're having this is it's a celebration. We have a new emperor, and it's 150 days of games, and hooray!
But the tonality of that was way off.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. But yeah, it's Hans Zimmer doing his Hans Zimmer thing.
But everything else in the score and the soundtrack and everything else, spot on.
Yeah, the action sequences are really effective. The way the score is there. There's some really dramatic moments. There's he uses a lot of different vocal stylings when they're in different parts of the world. And then also like he's in North Africa for a little while.
Yeah.
And they have kind of more culturally reminiscent music for Northern Africa.
Okay, I get
kind
that.
of blended in.
Sure.
If you're not sure where you are, the music should tell you where you are.
Fair enough.
And then anytime he's having like a dream, there's this very like ethereal choir kind of thing going on. So yeah, it's very thematic to whatever is going on. I really like the score in this. Yeah, I thought that was good. Actors. Okay, so you kind of asked at the beginning, who is this old guy? And I had to point out, okay, well, that's Marcus Aurelius. He is the emperor. That is Richard Harris. There's exactly two movies of the same series that you have seen him in. He's the original Dumbledore.
All right.
Because as you could see here, in 2000, he's an old man.
Sure.
He was an old man for a while. And this is when he was already kind of just winding down his career, which is why he did not make it through all of the Harry Potter movies. He made 2 and then sadly passed away.
Yeah.
And probably shouldn't have been cast in the first place because he was not doing well.
If you were going to do that many movies.
Yeah. He barely made it through the 2 of them. But that's who that was. Who else? Okay, so let's talk about Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
So he's 26 in this movie. I had to look that up because you were like, how young is he here? He's pretty young. He got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. What were your feelings about him in this movie, Trent?
Very impressive. I asked, it was in the moment where he is like being all really creepy on his sister and like laying her down on top of her. And I asked, so was he nominated for anything for this? Because Jesus, is he a creeper? Yeah,
he is very good at being both the whiny little bitch.
Oh, he's such a good whiny little bitch.
He's also creepy and terrifying.
Yeah. Like the scene of him after he like has the senators arrested and whatever else, where he's just kind of looking off on the balcony, like thinking to himself, am I going to be a merciful emperor?
What should I do?
Yeah, what should I be? What do I want my subjects to know me as? Because all he sees is Maximus getting the titles, Maximus the Merciful and the love.
And the adoration.
Exactly. So all he's doing is trying to live vicariously through that. He wants to have the love and affection of that Maximus is getting, but artificially.
Oh yeah, you could sum this all up to jealousy. Jealousy.
Absolutely.
He's absolutely jealous of the whole thing because his dad loved him better.
Yeah, he's jealous of his dad loving Maximus more as a son. Mm-hmm. And you even have that little moment there where, the Emperor is on his knees saying, I wish I was a better father to you.
I failed you as a father.
I failed you as a father if you think that I don't love you. Mm-hmm. And, as an emperor in that position, you're probably not going to give your son that same adoration because you're never going to let them be out and battle for you. Mm-mm. Because he's the prince. He's never going to have to go through that because you need to protect your heirs.
Yes.
So that's not his fault.
No.
But at the same time, when, he's getting the news that he's not going to be the emperor, he fucking smothers him to death.
Yeah, his reaction is, no, I'm a
And of course, I knew that was going to happen because there's no way he is going to survive this night because after he tells Maximus, you're going to be my guy.
Yeah, there's two people in the whole world who know what Marcus Aurelius actually wants.
Right.
And it's Maximus and Commodus.
And again, same thing, Game of Thrones, that happens in season 1. The king tells Ned Stark that
in private,
you are going to be ruling in my stead until my heir comes of age.
Mm-hmm. But he doesn't. Yeah, and Ned carefully uses the phrase "my legitimate
my
heir."
True heir.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of shit that we see in other media.
Mm-hmm. To go back to the acting choices he made, he spends most of this movie speaking in this almost whispery voice. And it just adds so much creepiness to his character.
Oh, yeah, he's a creeper.
Where he's just like, my father loved me, my father, I love my father, father.
And anybody who refers to their parents as my father, my mother. Yeah, things like that.
It's a distance thing.
Yeah, I do not get that. And anybody who says that, just stay away from me.
It's weird. And, he's trying to make the moves on his sister because, again, this is 180 AD. It wasn't unheard of in this time of the world
and that
for
same
brothers
scene,
to marry sisters.
In that same scene I was talking about of him at the balcony, that's this scene where he just comes over to her and says, you are going to give me a pure blood heir.
Yep.
I'm going to impregnate you and you're going to give us a son that
to rule as my progeny.
Exactly. Because his nephew is not his.
Nope.
And he would be the true heir if and when he dies.
So that while that's all well and fine and I'm claiming him as my own, we're going to make sure I've got some more.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's a great moment in this movie too, and I pointed out to you. So she has basically crumbled. She was trying to help Maximus.
Yes.
And she, out of fear, ratted him out. And she's sitting there crying while he talks, and she doesn't say a word. But you can see in her eyes, it is so many different kinds of reasons she is crying.
Yeah.
She is scared. She is angry. She is feeling shame. She is feeling grief. And all in silence. And I don't know this actress from anything else, but she's really good at this.
You're right, absolutely. And I think it's, like you said, it is all of those things. She's fearful for her son.
Yep.
Because she does not want him to follow his path and be his progeny. Even though it's just his uncle, guess what? He's the emperor. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
He's also still young enough that you can mold him.
Exactly. And, the kid likes his uncle.
He's also drawn to Maximus and what he stands for, though.
Right.
Like, he's playing with the guards, and Commodus says, oh, what are you doing? And he says, I'm a gladiator. I'm Maximus.
Maximus, the savior of Rome.
Yeah.
And then he just, no, we
Who
can't have
told you
that.
he was the savior of Rome?
Right.
Yeah, and we don't hear it, but we assume that it was his mother who maybe said that in past. Careful what you say to your kids, guys.
Yep.
Because they hear everything and they'll repeat it. They will.
And then you have that scene afterwards of him sitting on his lap.
Yep.
And telling him the story, or telling her the story about some fictional thing that happened.
Well, no, he's telling him about Antony and Cleopatra.
Right.
And then he tells a story about a bee and an emperor.
Yeah,
and
somebody betraying.
Some metaphor.
Yeah, just basically implying that, hey, your mother is betraying me, the emperor, and Rome, and I know it. And it wouldn't it be a shame and ha ha ha.
Yep, and
Yeah.
looking her dead in the eyes and not blinking. He doesn't blink like that whole fucking scene.
Yeah, Joaquin
and he's
Phoenix
crying while he does it.
Joaquin Phoenix is very impressive in this. I think even more than Russell Crowe. Because I know what Russell Crowe can do, but him being that age and being able to pull this off and, not be redeemable at all.
No, he has zero redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
He is just an awful person.
It's hard to do that. It's hard to be a villain, a bad guy, if you're that young.
I also am pretty sure this is the first thing I saw him in. This is certainly
It's
the
the first thing that most people
that
saw
I
him in.
knew Russell Crowe from.
Yeah.
Like, this is my point of reference for him.
Yeah.
And I have to go look. Again, I'm always curious to know, okay, well, who else was up that year? And I don't know who was in the same category with Russell Crowe in 2000, but he won. He won
Yeah.
Best Leading Actor.
Yeah.
Did he win it 2 years in a row? I thought he won
Into 2001?
something like that, because he won for A Beautiful Mind. Did that come out that year or a couple years later?
I think it came out a couple years later. I think that was 2002.
At least I'm pretty sure he definitely got nominated. I know he won 2 in a very short span of time.
Sure. Yeah, and I really liked A Beautiful Mind, and I think that was my first reference point for him.
Yep.
But then since then, geez, I have to really rack my brain to really realize what else did he do that I've seen. I don't know.
I like when Russell Crowe plays against type. Like, we haven't watched it yet, but that movie, with Ryan Gosling, what's that one called?
The Good Guys?
The Good Guys, The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys, yeah.
Yeah, he's in The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling, and he's just sort of this rough and tough cop against Ryan Gosling, who's like squealing. I don't know.
We haven't seen it.
Just in the commercials, the trailers for it, it looks like he's actually taking a hand at comedy, which I hadn't seen him do at the time. And really since, Russell Crowe is not known for comedy. But know, he is like a cheeky Australian who absolutely has a sense of humor. Like the whole thing about John Oliver. When Russell Crowe got divorced, he had a big auction because he needed to pay for his divorce. So he auctioned off a bunch of memorabilia from his movies, and it was like the title of the auction was The Art of Divorce, and it's a picture of him in a tuxedo like holding a glass of whiskey. It's so absurd, but that is funny, and he clearly can take a joke about himself. And then John Oliver, because this is the kind of crap his show loves to do, they bought a bunch of it, and in his honor, Russell Crowe paid for a chlamydia award for koalas. And it's all real.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is just like, all right, you're going to make a joke? I'm going to make my own joke.
Yeah, so he's got at least a sense of humor about himself. He's in a band, you know.
30-odd foot of grunts. What the fuck kind of a band name is that?
Oh, Betsy, we could go on and on about all the different bands that actors are in.
Oh, we definitely could. But like in this,
Star.
It's funny to see him in this movie where he's kind of got this reputation for this kind of a role where he's very stoic.
Yeah, he keeps on getting cast as like these commander, like Master and Commander.
Yep.
That's all him.
Yep, that one. What else is he in where he's got... Oh, Les Mis.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays, Javert, and he's this stoic cop in that movie.
Yeah.
Stoicism is kind of his thing, which is weird because he can do more than that. But he kind of got pigeonholed for a little while, and he kept saying yes to roles where he's now being typecast.
And like in a Beautiful Mind, he is playing a real person, and he had to do a lot of research for that.
Yeah, but in here, he's just Russell Crowe, that guy from Gladiator, because he was still relatively early in his career. He'd made a number of movies at this point.
I'm sure he did, but nothing he was known for, right?
No, but like the year before, he had been in The Insider, so he got nominated for an Academy Award a couple of years in a row. And that's kind of where it all took off for him. So he was in The Insider the year before, then he was in this, and then he was in A Beautiful Mind. So it was kind of like boom, boom, boom for a while.
Was he in LA Confidential?
He was in LA Confidential.
Yeah, so that was 99, 98?
Oh, shit, no, that was like 97.
Was it that early?
That's
okay.
pre this movie.
Okay.
So like I said,
that I know.
He was in Mystery Alaska. Don't ask me how I know that.
All right.
Somewhere along the way, this hockey movie about a place called Mystery Alaska, I happen to know he's in that movie. I didn't know it at the time it came out. I watched it like years later and was like, hey, Russell Crowe's in this movie. So yeah, it's that thing about hardworking actors. The work pays off. Sure. And he's gone on to work with Ridley Scott a number of times, I think, since this one. Like he did that Robin Hood movie.
Right.
Which I understand is not good.
It's not great. It's not good, but I understand it's better than the most recent one that Guy Ritchie put out.
Okay, but that one, he's trying to be like... No, Guy Ritchie did King Arthur. I don't know who did the Robin Hood one. No, the Robin Hood one is Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
And it's like weird... Like that thing that A Knight's Tale did where it's like modern,
right?
But
it's got
old.
some modern tropes in it, but
except that's actually supposed to be terrible.
Right.
But I don't think the King Arthur thing is any good either.
No.
Now that you say
we
that.
haven't had any good one of these movies for a long time.
No. And I appreciate when they try to do something a little different, like to make it modern and cool. Sometimes it's just better to make it like Gladiator, though. Like true to the time. Stick to the basics, do like the real stunts, real acting.
But should you actually do that? Because Gladiator has been copied and copied and copied and copied over the top of all of these other pieces of media. Like we keep on bringing up Game of Thrones. If there's any good follow-up to Gladiator, it is that.
Probably. It's certainly a spiritual successor.
Yeah, how do you make it better other than just blowing it all out into an 8-season series?
There's a lot of these kinds of properties, as you said, like could it be a series where I'd actually be interested in watching some of those.
Right.
And we're going to get it with, what is it,
Lord of the Rings?
We're going to get a
Lord of the Rings thing with Amazon.
Yeah, it's a prequel, so it's not exactly the same. I'm waiting for the Harry Potter TV series.
Oh, fuck.
I think in our lifetime we are going to get a full-on Harry Potter television series that will quench the thirst of every one of them nerds that got mad that they cut so much from the books for the movies.
No, it won't.
Oh, I think it will.
No,
if they are meticulous enough, I think it will. Because their whole complaints, the real diehards, is they cut so many storylines from the book. And they miscast people, and they direct it wrong, and the chemistry is shit. Like, just cast it well, put everything in it, them nerds will at least watch it.
I'm going to ask a question to our superfan Stephanie right off the bat here.
I know she'll have a response to this.
I want you to write in, do you think that any studio will do a Harry Potter series justice, or will the potheads out there just completely shun it?
I love that you just called them potheads. I don't think that's what they're called.
I don't care. I don't like the Harry Potter series. We keep on bringing it up. I really wish we had this podcast before. When Betsy and I sat down to watch the Harry Potter series, we did a proto podcast episode
just with
after
ourselves.
Every single one, just with ourselves talking with each other, and that was the genesis of this podcast. In any case, I would like to know if you think a TV series set in the Harry Potter universe following all the books, not just new shit that Game of Thrones did, because all they did was base their ending off of what they thought was going to happen and a rough idea of what the ending was going to be.
They got like the outline notes, and then they said, okay, great, but we're going to go a different direction.
Right. And I don't want to have this episode turn into just complaining about other media.
They're dumb.
Right. So just to put a cap on this whole thing, I think this movie was way ahead of its time. Because this movie gave so much inspiration to so many other directors of a lot of different stripes, whether it be like a historical drama like The Patriot, obviously that came out the same year, but you get what I'm saying. The Game of Thrones series, all this stuff got inspired by Ridley Scott and his vision of what this is. I have no idea who even wrote this, like what it's based on. Is it just like hey, I'm kind of basing this on what the Romans did back in the day, and I'm just having this redemption story here?
I think it's just, I have an idea, and I'm setting it at this time.
Yeah. I
don't think there's much more to it than that.
It seems pretty damn unique because it came out so early. Like, I keep on thinking about all these other things that got inspired by this movie, and it's insane.
Most of them are based on something else. You're right. This is pretty unique for that particular reason. Like, I truly don't think this is adapted from something other than just general Roman lore.
Sure.
Roman history.
And it's extremely well done.
It's extremely well done. That being said, do you have any other final thoughts? Anything we haven't touched on from this movie that you'd like to bring up before we forget entirely?
No, I think the only thing that I wish that they would have gone a little bit further into was the whole debate about like democracy and being a republic. Mm-hmm. Like, you have all these senators that have names, and based on the little that I know about, Roman history, that's a very important thing for the course of human history.
Well, yeah, they came up with the concept, and there's a lot of people who have taken it and made their own iteration. There's a reason we have a Senate and not something else.
Exactly.
The Brits don't have a Senate, but they have Parliament. It's effectively the same thing. They are people who are represented to represent the people.
a single cameral government with no head of state. I mean, you can see the genesis of it so many years ago and how it has evolved and evolved and evolved. But really, a lot of the terms and the ideas are still relevant even at this time.
So this is why it's fascinating to me that this doesn't fascinate you.
The old stuff?
If you said at the beginning, this time of history hasn't really been that interesting to you.
But
there's so
older,
much genesis of ideas that were born of this era that we still use today. And especially when it comes to talking about the Greeks and the Romans in particular. Yeah. Because a lot of concepts that they came up with, we've still got, and we really haven't changed that much.
As I've gotten older, that stuff has fascinated me more. But like going backwards from what I know now, I just don't know where to start. This is a good one. There have been Assassin's Creed video games that have delved into a whole lot of history without even me really knowing it, and me learning a lot about it just by playing the fucking games.
Oh shit, I went down a rabbit hole once while you were out of town. I ended up watching this 3-part series on it was like a PBS thing that was streaming on Amazon, and I watched the whole thing in one night, and it was all about the different Roman emperors. And I texted you the next morning. I was like, guess what I learned? Here's all the chronological emperors from this year to this year. I couldn't do it now, but in the moment I was just like, there's this one and this one and this one and this, and that's how I spend my evening. I love that crap. I love it. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. We've got another one before we get into our next series. I think we've got at least one more.
Yeah, we got one more we're going to watch before we hop into our next series. We said it was going to be a short intermission in between series. And I'm just going to say it's going to be another new movie.
Because we like stuff that is new sometimes.
New movies sometimes. Anyway, we're going to read an email from Stephanie about one of our cult classic movies, UHF.
We watched that movie.
That was the Weird Al movie. From Stephanie, I'm pretty sure I watched this one on Comedy Central once or twice growing up. Some of those scenes, like the Indiana Jones parody and Wheel of Fish, are just seared into my head. It's such a silly, dumb, fun movie.
It really is. It made me laugh really hard.
Again, like we said, that movie is very much our shit. It's our sense of humor.
It's dumb, and I love it.
It's the dumbest thing, but in the best way. Speaking of dumb, Twinkie Wiener makes me want to puke for sure. OMG, Secrets of the Universe, it is so good. I love the local commercials and parodies of them. Yeah. Sometimes my husband and I will just throw on some Weird Al in the car and hope that my daughter will only know lyrics to White and Nerdy and never know that it is a parody.
I would love that. I love that for your daughter.
Yeah, I think if we were to ever have children, that's what we would do as well. I have never seen him live either, but we would love to. Love you guys from Superfan Stephanie.
Well, and promptly after we found that out, my brother texted me because he listened to the episode. Yeah. And Weird Al is going to be nearby, like 2-3 hours away.
Yeah, within driving distance, he's going to be around.
Like in 2 or 3 weeks. And it's just like, interesting. Interesting. We might have to have a conversation about that. We'll see.
We'll have that off air.
But in any case, if you would like to email us, we would love to hear from you as well. What do you think of Gladiator? What's your favorite epic? Do you also love Weird Al? You could talk about all or just one of those things by emailing us at neverseenitpod@gmail.com. We also have a Twitter page. You can message us on Twitter or just tweet at us. It's neverseenit_pod. And new to the, what do you call it? The
social media universe.
We have now got a Facebook and an Instagram page.
Yeah.
Now, what's that one? Never Seen It Pod 1.
Yeah, Never Seen It Pod 1. We're the number one Never Seen It pod on the internet.
Yeah, we are. Number one. And then, there's all the other stuff you could do. You can go to the Anchor page and support us. You can like us, rate us, share us with your friends. All the things that good little listeners do. You should do those things.
Please.
And we love you for them.
Please.
But that's going to be it for this one. We'll be back again in a few days with another episode of Never Seen It. In the meantime, I have been Betsy.
And I have also been Trent.
And we will see you next time.
See ya.